3 goals. Familiarity with units. Students should have a basic idea of the size of a commonly used unit and what they measure. 2. Ability to select an appropriate unit. Students should know both what is reasonable measurement unit in a given situation and the level of precision required. And 3. Knowledge of the relationship between units. Students should know the relationship that are commonly used, such as inches, feet, yards, millimeters, milliliters, and liters. 2 types of activities can develop familiarity with standard units: comparisons that focus on a single unit, and activities that develop personal inferences or benchmarks for single units or easy multiples of units. A good thing to do is send a newsletter that suggests families check distances around the neighborhood or the school or shopping centers or within their house, and helps students understand standard units. Personal benchmark activity. Measure your body about how long are your foot, how long is your stride, how long is your hand span, the width of your finger, the arm span. Data can be graphed in a line plot. There are wonderful proportional relationships to be found between these measures too. Compare the distance around your neck and around your waist. Compare your height to your height of your head. Some may prove to be useful benchmarks for standard units, and some may be excellent models for single or multiple units of standard units. Choosing an appropriate unit. Should the room be measured in feet or inches? Should the concrete block be weighed in grams or kilograms? The answer to a question such as these involve more than simply knowing how big the units are, although that is required. Also, considerations involve the need for precision. If you are measuring your wall, in order to cut a piece of molding to fit, you will need to measure it precisely, down to the fraction of a unit. The United States is one of the 3 nations that have not adopted the international system of units, the metric system. Because of its international importance, U.S. students must know the SI, the metric system, for such things as product design, manufacturing, marketing, and labeling in order to participate in a global market. Familiarity with the units in both systems helps students consider reasonableness of their measurements. The relationship between standard units within either the metric system or the customary system are conventions or conversions. Students must simply be told what the relationships are, and instructional experiences must be devised to reinforce these, so practices. Number 1, you could think of how you would estimate the area of a covering of this book using playing cards as the unit. To do so, you would have to think about what the area is and how many units might be placed on the book cover. Number 2, it is interesting to see how close you could come in your estimate to actual measuring. And number 3, if your estimate of the height of a door is in meters, before measuring you must think about the size of a meter. How long is it? How is it compared to feet? And number 4, the width of the building is about 1/4 of the length of a football field. Perhaps 1/4 of 100 yards is 25 yards. In this example, estimate the length of a room. You could use the windows, the bulletin boards, space between as chunks. So you can develop benchmarks or references. Students have acquired mental benchmarks or references points for measuring for a single unit or the use of multiple units in the standard system, and practice using those in the classroom. In this example, you're using the height of a child as your length. You can use chunking. Chunking involves subdividing a measure into components to better estimate the figure. In this figure, it shows an example of chunking using windows, bulletin boards, space between items. Iterate units. Length, area, volume is sometimes easy to mark off single units mentally or even physically. You might use your hands, your feet, your stride. The best approach to improving estimation skills is to have students do a lot of estimating. Keep the following tips in mind. Explicitly teach each strategy and discuss how different students made their estimates. Create a list of benchmarks, accept a range of estimates. Do not promote a winning estimate, but encourage everybody to explain their estimate. Encourage students to give a range of estimates that they believe include an actual measure, and make measurement estimation an ongoing activity. Don't just stop doing it, continue it through the years and every year after that. And be precise with your language. Activity 18.5, Estimation Exploration. Select a single object such as a box, a pumpkin, a painting on a wall of the school, or even the principal's door or principal's office. Each day select a different attribute or dimension to estimate. For a pumpkin, for example, students can estimate the height, circumference, the weight, and volume and surface area, and so on. There are 4 important principles of iterating units of length. Equal in length, or cannot iterate them by counting a line with the length being measured, or difference in quantity is measured. Placed without gaps or parts of length is not measured. Placed without overlap or length has lengths that have portions that are measured more than one time. Have students begin to measure length using a variety of non-standard units. It include giant footprints, measuring ropes, drinking straws, short units, rope, stride length, your body, your arm length. All those are examples.